Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Me Knowledge. I'm your host, Robert Kelly, and I've got my co-host with me,
Prince Hayes.
and we've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk about why our show exists and what value we hope that you get out of it. And we're going to talk about the Kamala Harris housing proposal and how it affects the Black community. We're also going to talk about American progressivism and how progressives have emerged to confront the two right wings, we mean the Democratic and the Republican parties, and immigration reform, and how the present day concentration camps affect the American psyche. So we got D on the ones and twos here.
Evening, everybody.
So we're really excited about the show, and we're going to go through these topics with you.
Yeah. So in starting the show, we kind of laid out a little bit of the framework early on, right? But we want to go over a little bit more in depth at why this show really exists. So what do you feel like is the biggest reason, you wanted to get involved in doing something like this?
Well, the main reason that we started this show, or reason I'm participating in this show personally, is it's a labor of love. It's because I love the people that I see on the street. I love America. I love our country, but not in the way that loving the constructs of America or loving capitalism or loving our government structure or anything like that. But I love the people, the men and women that make this country what it is, that we see on a daily basis, that we drive by in our cars, and the children and things of that nature. So the reason I do that I will do this show is because out of love for those people, I want to see society advance in a way that protects the interests of those people, that protect the values that we all hold, which is, advancement into the future with our better lives for us, better lives for our families as well.
Absolutely. So I would say that I agree with everything you said right there. Like that, like ultimately what it comes down to is we do this for you guys. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like we get something out of it too, because I feel like it's therapeutic for us. That's a part of it. But also I feel like ultimately we just like to share information because we were doing this before for nothing. We're still doing it for nothing, but I'm saying we were doing this before with no direction. We were just doing it because that's just who we were. If you guys go follow either one of us on Facebook, Friend of the People, Prince Hayes, on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you would see all the information we've been disseminating for. I've been at this shit for years. You know what I'm saying? Like so, but also we've been growing. You know what I mean? And we've been developing. So the message is becoming sharper, and we feel like now we actually have something to offer you guys in way of just kind of adding context to the political landscape, right? Because right now it's really hard to find information. It's really hard to find viable information, and it's really hard for people to take the time out of their days to consume stuff and then digest it and process it, and that way they can understand it. So we just kind of want to cut the fat and cut the noise and be like, boom, these are the things that are important. And even when saying that, I want you guys to help us. Email us, follow us on Facebook, DM, I don't care, however you got to do it, share information with us because we don't see everything. You know what I mean? Like we only see what we see. You know what I mean? We know how these the apps work. We know how YouTube works. We know how Instagram works. We know how Facebook and Twitter works. It's an algorithm. So we only see the stuff that we are interested in. You know what I mean? But like, it doesn't mean, it thinks that we're interested in, but I purposefully go out of my way to follow right-wing. I follow Tucker Carlson. I follow freaking Chuck Woolery. I follow right-wing people. I follow Donald Trump. I follow Mitch McConnell. I follow all these people on Twitter and on Facebook. Like, I want to know what they're saying too in real time. I don't want to get it after the fact. You know what I mean? Like, so I like to get it in real time. That way I can see it for myself unfiltered. So we want to take the information, give you guys some context, and that way we all could get on the same page, hopefully, or around it. I don't want us, specifically Black people, we're not a monolith. You know what I'm saying? I don't want us to think alike. That's not what we're trying to do. But certain things are just like we need to know who the enemy is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like if we generally could figure out who the enemies are, then we'll be all right. You know what I mean? And the enemy in this particular case right now, I would say would be capitalism. That's the biggest thing we need to overcome is capitalism. Right. So
and a lot of times when people do have these kind of shows, because there's a lot of them out there, and we appreciate you guys that are watching because you don't have to. There are a lot of things to watch on YouTube. You know? And basically you chose us, and so we're really happy about that. And we invite anybody of any ideology or whatever type of thinking to go ahead and join us and express yourselves freely on the show. But a lot of times these shows start as they see a problem and then they try to fit in as a solution. Mm-hmm. I would assert that this show is not a solution so much as a response, mm-hmm. and it's a response to the current political climate. The political climate right now is one where confusion, volatility, but also opportunity. And the big corporations, the military-industrial complex, big pharma, the banks, they all know that this is a time of volatility, and they know that it's a time of opportunity as well. And they're shooting their shot. Mm-hmm. But also, there are people working on behalf of the working class people, and they understand the opportunity before them as well. So we, share these ideas in hopes to be part of a movement that is already awakening of working class, poor people, and people that care about other humans mm-hmm. in general, right? Mm-hmm. Working towards change, positive change, in a society that is seemingly more and more controlled by the rich and powerful. Not to say that I have anything against rich people. You're still people, right? But I believe that a rich person, the rich are operating with impunity and have lost a sense of responsibility, and they've been empowered by the people that rule mm-hmm. at this current point in time. So if it's anything, it's a response to the ideology and a response to the ideology, basically, that the status quo, you know what I mean, is something that when we look at it, is something that's authentically American, that the status quo is something that's right, even moral. Mm-hmm. We don't believe that that's a fact. So we're actually a show that is in response to that, saying, hey, true morality and true righteousness, for mm-hmm. lack of a better word, lies in ideas and in policies from our government that protect people, that uplift the worst people, the poorest of us, the lowest of us, and that increase security, for everyone, and it opens up opportunity for everyone. And in a world that has been always looking for ways to close off opportunities and to hoard opportunities from other people, we hope to be a part of the movement that is now rising to open up opportunities for everyone.
Yep, right on. So let's go to the first topic. I would say you want to talk about the American progressivism?
Yeah, let's talk about progressivism. Jump right in there.
How progressivism has emerged to combat the two rights. You just kind of touched on that. So the two right-wing parties, there's only two parties in America. You have the Republicans and you have the Democrats. The Republicans are as far right as Hitler. I mean, they are like extremely right-wing. Like their authoritarianism. I mean, they practice authoritarianism. They do not have any empathy for anybody other than people that look like them or make as much money as them or whatever. They don't care about the planet. Like they just generally just don't care about anybody other than them. That is, to me, trying to put it in a short way, that is what the Republican Party represents. You go to the Democratic Party. Democratic Party appears to be on the side of the people in certain ways. Like they will talk about gay rights.
Mhm.
They'll talk about immigration to a certain extent, right? But that's pretty much all you get from the left, from the quote unquote left, from the liberals. You know what I'm saying? You don't really get real plans on how to change, how to fundamentally change the system. How can we the people benefit from some of these new policies or whatever we need to get implemented? Like they don't really talk about that. When I say that, I'm not saying every single person in the party is doing that, because we'll get into that later. Of course, there's some people in the party, there's some rogue factions in the party that are like wreaking havoc in the party on our behalf, on the working class behalf. But the establishment, the Nancy Pelosi, the Chuck Schumers, they don't want to relinquish power at all.
Right.
And they are extremely right wing.
Right.
They are war hawks. They are anti-environmentalists. They are anti-human rights. They are they don't want you to make a living wage. They don't care if you have health insurance. Like that is through and through from the top brass down. You know what I'm saying? So that is why it is really, really important that we accept that neither one of these parties both of these parties are right wing. We need to understand that and accept that.
Right. Conservatism is marked by, Prince, he put it, very bluntly, they don't care about anybody but themselves. But from a definitional standpoint, just so you can identify it, because a lot of times it's, even though he's right on the head with it, it's masked in we care about I care about my people, and I care about us and myself, and that love they in the country, right, and nationalism. They mask it with those things. It's actually conservatism means that, when they see it's about a resistance to change. It's about a return to what they see as wholesome values. It's about a return to certain things and to hold a line, a status quo. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about the status quo in America, the status quo is that America has always served one group of people over other groups of people. Mm-hmm. And so when someone talks about conservative and a return to values, i.e., a make America great again, yep, means a return to conservative values. But a conservative value in America has always been resistant to social reform. Mm-hmm. Has always been resistant to
working class people
getting having ownership. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's always been resistant to on an economic level, to any kind of equality on an economic, social level for anyone that doesn't come from where they come from.
What would you say are some of the biggest the policies right now that are on the table being presented by viable candidates, right? People that are running for president, people that are running for Senate, I don't care, whatever office. What would you say? Give me two of the most important policies that they're trying to push right now.
The
progressives.
Yeah. Okay. Number one, Medicare for all.
Okay.
Is definitely the most important. It's changed the whole face of the party just mentioning it. Mm-hmm. Number two, I would say is definitely student loan debt forgiveness. Hmm. Yeah, I would say that's important because and especially when you're talking about what it means to Black people, mm-hmm, it would actually close half of the income gap by forgiving the debt.
That's a crazy number. That's a crazy stat. I would say healthcare, because it's such a fundamental right for everybody to have healthcare. I think that's why it's so important, because it seems like, oh, of course people care about that because it's your health. But we were talking about that earlier. Like Americans typically, we don't give a fuck about our health. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look how we live our lives. Like we have like the worst diets ever, right? In the developed world, we have the worst diets. Mm-hmm. Our food is fake. The air is dirty, the water is dirty. Like we typically don't care about our. We overdrink, we overuse drugs. We overconsume these things that kill us every single day. We don't exercise. We sit down for 12 hours a day. So I don't buy that Americans are so concerned with their health. I do think though that Americans don't want to go bankrupt if they get sick, because we know we're gonna get sick living like this. And two, I think we're so close to getting it that they're like, dude, like come on, like we almost Obama. He gave us a Band-Aid. Now let's heal up the wound. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the reasons why I would say that. I mean, it is really important though. Like fundamentally, it's really important. But the other thing I would say is the most important thing would be the environment. And in years past, I would have said, for me personally, my personal thing that I would have cared about the most would have been equality for Black people. Right? But I mean, we gotta keep it funky though. Like, if there is no planet, like
who cares?
Like race and all, yeah, we gonna all be dead. So I know because I talk to a lot of Black people who are very concerned about Black people getting our, you know what I'm saying, like things like reparations or whatever the case may be, even before reparations was even like on a national level, like this being spoken about like this on a national stage. But you would talk to them about, like, I would talk to them about like the environment, and they'd be like, nah, we gotta get ours first. And I'll be like, I feel you, but the house is on fire, bro. We gotta put the fire out first, and then let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like if your tooth is fucked up and you have an infection, the first thing they do is give you antibiotics most of the time. They want to kill the infection. Like there are steps. You know what I'm saying? Like if your bone is broken and your shit is pointing that way, the first thing they're gonna do is break the bone to reset it, and then they're gonna put the thing on it, the cast on it to heal it all up, and yada yada yada. But right now we need to get the environment in check. We need to really, really address that, because literally, like the whole world around us is dying. Like the physical world around us is dying like every single day. And I don't want to sound like one of those infomercials that got the seals.
No, you need to be 100, because I was reading something the other day. Very, very, I'm glad you touched on that. I mean, bees, point blank. Number one pollinators of the trees we need to breathe on. Yeah. And we're down, 2/3?
Yeah. Like shit. Like
butterflies. Monarchs.
Yeah.
Monarch butterflies. They're down 1/3 of their population. It's no longer, and I'm just interjecting because I feel like I agree with y'all. That's one of the biggest things that you can't, to Prince's point, you can't fix problems for people if there's nowhere for people to enjoy the fix of the problem.
Yeah. Like, what are we going to do if we get equality and there ain't nowhere to be equal? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Point blank.
And basically, as we move forward, if Black people need to understand that these environmental issues that are already going on, they affect
us the most.
Disproportionately poor people, but in America, Black people definitely are affected the most.
Look at Flint.
Look at Hurricane Katrina.
Look at Standing Rock.
Look at Louisiana right now.
Yeah, look at Louisiana right now. Yeah,
and then in the competition, and then with the way that things are right now, where we're in a society that really supports big business and what they're trying to do. Something that I seen on the Michael Brooks show last night, where he was talking about Nestle.
Oh yeah, the chocolate.
One of his producers was talking about Nestle, the food producer, and how they in San Bernardino, right here in San Bernardino County, paid literally $524 for their water last year, and they used millions of gallons of water.
Do you know why they paid that $524? Because for about maybe 15 years before that, they didn't pay anything.
Right.
Yeah. So they finally got them to pay $500.
And also how in Toronto, they're also outside of Toronto, in Canada, which produces 1/5 of the fresh water in the world. They are sucking Toronto dry, basically.
Interesting.
And they're now because when these resources become more scarce,
who do you think is going to affect?
What do you think? It's going to set off a competition that, it's going to set up a competition for resources that, like, you haven't seen since imperialism days. It's going to be vicious. And we have to protect what we have, and we have to make sure that there's rules in place to make sure that everyone has an opportunity going forward to share in these resources,
Mhm.
but we have to be able to stand up to big corporations. We have to be able to stand up to the military. We have to be able to stand up to these things, because when the competition starts, these are going to be the main actors, bad actors,
Mhm.
I should say, in the melee, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word. I don't want to scare you. I'm not like,
Yeah.
this is not
They're gonna
propaganda
be
to scare
the
people, but-
antagonists. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely, and the poor people and black people brown and black and poor people are going to be the
Biggest
victims,
victims.
the biggest victims of that, as you see in India.
Yes.
What's going on right now?
Wow.
Where they have droughts,
Yes.
big time droughts going on in India.
And a lot of people don't talk about this, but a lot of the migrations that are happening is due because of global warming. A lot of the migrants that are moving to Europe from the Middle East, it's because of lack of resources, not because of jobs, not because, you know what I'm saying? They're literally, it's the earth is dying, and they're like, what the hell am I going to do?
Right.
It's too hot here, so they're leaving in droves. We're witnessing mass migration in real time, and mass migration has happened many a times throughout history. Like, this isn't the first time it's happened. This is the first time that we have borders and bullshit like that, and we try to tell people like, you can't come to this land or whatever, when it's like, who the fuck owns the land? Like, nobody owns the land.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me that's crazy. That's a crazy concept. But we need to. Those are my two biggest things: is healthcare and the environment. And one last thing on that, there are like I'm going to give you guys an example, so of how it affects us, black people specifically, right? So I grew up next to power plants. A lot of power lines and a lot of oil refineries. Oil refinery exploded many a times when I was growing up, but it was a real big one time, and it like blew out windows and set off car alarms, and who the hell knows? I used to get headaches when I used to go outside. They put that shit right next to the hood. I grew up in Long Beach. I grew up on the west side of Long Beach, and that shit is right. So people that I had in my neighborhood where I grew up at, I had a train track.
Mm-hmm.
I had power cords, power lines everywhere. Like, I go back there now, I'm just like, how in the fuck how are we alive?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I had an oil refinery, 2 miles away, in Wilmington and Carson or whatever. So all those people that live in Carson, which is predominantly black, Wilmington, predominantly black and Hispanic, west side of Long Beach, predominantly black and Hispanic, all those cities around there, Compton, black, Hispanic, all those cities around there, that is not on accident. That is a setup, and that's me. That's a personal testament. I can tell you guys, I see with my own two eyes. But there's stories about foster farms and shit like that, and they're dumping like all their waste in these black communities, and like black people are dying of cancer in droves. Like, they're like it was a man, and he was like, yeah, my auntie had cancer, my mama died of cancer, my granny died of cancer, this baby is sick right now, I've had this thing, I've had thyroid, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, like that, and there's tons of stories like that all around the country that black people are being affected by. They call it environmental racism.
Mm-hmm.
So those things are what I care about. I don't always care about money or monetary, I don't feel like that shit is gonna fix our overall circumstances.
If you're watching, by the way, and you live in one of those areas, share your story. Go ahead and let us know, and we would love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
I want to so in identifying those two very large problems, I want to start to juxtapose that to how conservatives view these problems,
Mm-hmm.
how the Democratic Party views them, and then how the progressive movement has also viewed these parties.
Okay.
So if we're talking about a conservative view on, let's start with healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a plan for healthcare because they like the way that things are right now.
No, that's not true. They have a plan for healthcare. They want to take away the little bullshit
that you do have.
That you got right now.
They want to reduce Obamacare, but I think that reducing Obamacare, I think it's already kind of a right-wing thing.
No, it is. It was
But
Obamacare.
I think that the fact that people refer to it as Obamacare
Yeah.
is the reason that they
Oh,
want
they're super petty. They don't want a black man to get credit for that shit.
Right.
That's another part about it.
He's basically trying to wipe Obama's name off the face of. That's why every treaty, everything that Obama did in terms of foreign policy, and trade,
Trump's
he's
going
trying
back.
to undo.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good idea, he's not evaluating anything. He's just the art of the deal. He thinks he's going to jump in and by the power of his own charisma, change. I don't know what he's
That
thinking.
fucker's crazy.
I don't try to reason with crazy people on that or understand why they're doing things. They're crazy.
Yeah.
But he did announce after the State of the Union speech, and he had given his speech on State of the Union, and he came out and did an interview afterwards in the Congress in the foyer there,
Mhm.
and he said the Republican Party will be the party of healthcare.
Yeah.
To which Mitch McConnell took him in the back room and spanked him and
For
said,
sure.
"No, the fuck we're not."
He said, slow down there,
No,
son.
we're not. You see these donors? They like the things the way that they are. They
Absolutely.
like the fact that even though Obamacare passed, if Mitch McConnell allowed it to pass in the Senate, then it was something that it was weak, right?
Yeah.
But they like the fact that you have to pay in order to get health care, that you have to pay for care plus profit. They like the fact that they can pad their pockets with money from lobbying medical insurance companies, which pay about $230 million in lobbyist money and campaign contributions. Well, I guess Washington Wizards tickets and fancy dinners and things of that nature. And they like the way that the system is because it works for their best friends,
Mhm.
and keeps them in power monetarily. And it's a great shift. If you think about it, most of you guys that get your insurance from your employer, you're paying a great deal of your money to the insurance company. And the small business, if you work for a small business or a medium-sized business, they're paying a lot of money too.
Mhm.
That's a great transition of wealth to very few, because there's not a whole lot of very large insurance companies running around there, but they insure most of the employees,
Yeah.
especially when you're getting to small and medium businesses.
And it makes it really hard for them to compete. Like, it makes it hard for smaller businesses to compete. Like we were talking about Target and Walmart earlier, right? Like, I hate buying stuff from Target and Walmart.
Mhm.
I hate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish you guys owned a store. Like, I wish somebody, you know what I mean? Like, I would go to your store and pay extra. I don't care. But people, we're poor, right? So we don't want to pay more for something, so we'll cut corners where we can to save as much money as possible when we can. But ultimately that ends up costing us more money when we buy shit from Target.
Right.
People don't know that though in the long term. But in the short term, yeah, you save a few dollars here and there, but in the long term, you take away all the small businesses. Now nobody has anywhere to work in your community, and your community loses value, and so on and so forth. But what the point of saying that is, if your small business has to pay for insurance, that's another cost that now it's harder for them to compete with the Target, because Target has so much money. Target could buy a cheap plan for the, like they can do that all day long. That's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But for your small business, you might not be able to do that.
You might not have the buying power.
You don't have the buying power to do that. So if we could get rid of that and make it to where now no business has to worry about that. Now we're talking, even a smaller business could compete with the business like Target now. You see what I'm saying? Like,
now I can start a business and hire employees and not have to, beat myself up because I can't give health insurance to my favorite people in the world, the people that help me and feed my family. You know what I mean?
You guys,
because a lot of these small employers, they care about the people that work with them, and they want to do as good a job for them as they can. And they know that as a business owner, that a lot of people depend on them to eat. That there's at least a small group of people that depend on them to eat, and because of that, they are. You would be surprised just talking to some business owners. They're probably up late at night, just like, man, I just want to find a way to be able to get health insurance or help provide health insurance for my employees.
mm-hmm.
So it's not about just because they're an owner of the business, like they're evil or something. You know what I mean? They're, especially when we're talking about small and medium-sized businesses, they actually think about their employees. They're still priced out the market, but then also, people aren't able to even go into business because of that very reason, that they're not able to provide health insurance. They know that they would have to pay to provide health insurance,
Absolutely.
Now, if we're looking at it from a Democratic standpoint, I mean, their response to the way the insurance was, with basically millions and millions and millions of people not having access to health insurance, was to pass or to fight for, I guess they fought for the Affordable Care Act. Now, I cannot think of very many people that have ever expressed to me that the Affordable Care Act has actually helped them.
Oh, there's people that helped. Oh, for sure, it helped people, without a doubt. Without a doubt, it helped people. It didn't help enough, and it left off 30 million people or something crazy like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I want to answer this question from Love Life, I believe. I don't know if Love Life is a man or a woman. I'm not going to assume, but they asked a good question. They said that I'm going to paraphrase because I can't find it anymore. They said medical is all a big business and will never change. There's too much money involved. That you could say that about anything, but things typically always do change eventually. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I agree with you. And also in saying that, what are we supposed to do? Just take it and accept it? You see what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying. I would say to that, yeah, it's hard. No, we're not saying oh yeah, it's going to be easy. You know what I'm saying? And the main reason why it's not going to be easy is because most people, we're not on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Though the majority of Americans want Medicare for all. You know what I mean? At this point, 70% of Americans want Medicare for all. I think 85%, 80% of all Democrats want Medicare for all, right? But the problem is that we all want other things too. Tyrone has an agenda. My agenda is a little bit different. I have a special needs son, so I'm a little, I'm on the education tip. You know what I'm saying? I want to get him squared away with the education tip. Trump being in office scares the fuck out of me for my son. I've never been afraid of a president before until I had kids, because they're talking about taking away money from special needs programs. You know what I mean? So that scares me, right? So I care about stuff like that. So if there's a candidate out there that maybe I got to sacrifice this for that, or maybe I'm, I don't know, maybe I got to go that route, right? So I understand people's problem with picking. So a lot of people don't know that they think they have to choose. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of it's too much money involved. There's never too much money involved. If the people want it to be so, the people outnumber the money all day. You know what I mean? The people have more power than the money. For an example, in this last election, Trump was outspent 10-1, I believe it was, by Hillary. Or he spent 50 million and she spent $1 billion or some crazy shit, like 2 billion or some shit like that. It wasn't 10-1. We talked about it earlier. Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, she spent she spent 1/10 of what Joe Crowley spent on their campaign, but the people spoke. The people spoke. The people have the power. We have to realize that we have the control. We have the power, but the only way we have the power and the only way we have the control is if we come together. We need to be fucking Voltron. You know what I'm saying? We need to be fucking fucking Power Rangers and combine and fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Don't bring up Power Rangers right now.
Why not?
Because Saban's in the news. Oh,
who's that?
The dude that started the Power Rangers. He is one of the worst human beings. I found out the Power Rangers were getting paid $600 a week, y'all.
That's crazy.
And they were non-union. Saban was a cold piece of work if you think about it.
Love Life says there's not enough people who care, but there are tons of people who care.
Glad you brought that up. Because that's why we're here. Because there are a lot of people that care, but it's about connection. Sometimes people aren't connected to the other people that care. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are groups of people that really care. First of all, everybody cares about health insurance.
Yep.
The reason they care about it is because you're paying it because you're paying it and you don't need it, or you're paying it and you need it. Mm-hmm. But everybody cares about health insurance and what's it going to cost me and what do I get for what I'm paying. Everybody cares about it. Now, when we're talking about grassroots or people coming together, first of all, we have to talk about paradigms. Because when we're talking about, and I expressed this on KHSX Radio Houston, shout out to you guys, 101.5 Houston, Texas. I was on there this morning. Shout out to that, to you, Tyrone, and your show, man. It was an awesome show. Thank you for having me on. It's about paradigms. And the first thing that we have to do, love life. The first thing we have to do is we have to shift our thinking. First of all, think about how you feel about healthcare. Is healthcare a right, a human right for all people? Do you believe that healthcare is a human right? If you believe that healthcare is a human right, you feel like most Americans do. You feel like your neighbor feels, okay? Do you feel that it's the government's responsibility to keep the people in its constituency healthy? If you feel that way, and you feel like most Americans, there's actually more people that feel the way you do than feel the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't be discouraged, because right now what's going on with Medicare for All is the conversation is opening up avenues to protect people that feel the way you feel, that medical help is a right.
Mm-hmm.
That healthcare is a right. And when we change our paradigm around that and say that healthcare is a human right, what we begin to do in that paradigm shift is we begin to that gives us the power to change things. Because once you agree that it's a right, now every single change that we make makes sense. It does more than just it becomes less of a fight and more of a wall of common sense washing over the idiocy that is the private insurance company at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And because we know when we look at this system, this is one thing that whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, otherwise, they all agree on. The system is dysfunctional. They all know that.
Who says that? Because I was saying that earlier. The system isn't dysfunctional. The system functions perfectly for the people.
The people that like it. For the people at the top.
The system, I'll tell me and Robert had this discussion earlier, and I was saying, if you compare the system to like your favorite to fucking the Joker in Batman, right? Like I love like the Joker that
Heath Ledger played.
Heath Ledger played.
Yeah, the Joker.
The Joker, the only Joker that you could think of. So a reason why he was so likable though was he killed it in the role. But even if you just look at the movie, the reason why the Joker was so dope is because you could even see where he was coming from. Even though he was a bad guy, you could see where he was coming from, right? Like he was hurting a lot of people and he was being really but you could see like, okay, he's saying it's janky, the system is fucked up, we need to, whatever. He wanted to mess up the system.
He said one line that I'll never forget. And it's one of the things that just canonized that movie for me. And he said, the people deserve a better brand of criminal.
Yeah.
I promise you, that was one of the coldest things you could say.
Not criminals who are just like trying to nickel and dime you and stick you up criminal. He was saying like ones that have like a bet, like a world, like because the Joker was on some like
he was on some other shit.
He saw the whole shit.
Right.
So that's how these motherfuckers at the top are. They are a different brand of criminal. They are taken from us like fucking crazy, man. Like we are like totally oppressed right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about like everybody watching this. I know people like to think that they're not oppressed. We love to have that discussion. I'm not just talking about black people because I don't care if you're black, white, or whatever. If you poor, meaning in America, if you make less than $100,000 a year, you poor. You ain't rich.
Yeah, if you make $100,000 a year, you still poor.
That's what I'm saying. You ain't wealthy. You know what I'm saying? $250,000 is really the cutoff point, to be honest with you. But if you making $80,000, and I don't care what you're talking about, you flip, you got your money here, and you're investing, your 401k is growing every day. Yeah, cool. You broke.
Right.
Because that shit can be taken away from you at any given time, right. And it will be taken away from you soon because the bubble will burst again like it always does. So if you got your money, any of these systems is bound to collapse. But the system works perfectly for the people at the top. Mm-hmm. It works perfectly for them. the education system. Oh, it's fucked up. Look how stupid everybody is. Look how educated we are. Yada yada yada. That's how they want us. They want us uneducated. Oh, the healthcare system is so fucked up. There's 40 million people that don't get healthcare, and the healthcare is shitty. That's what they want. And a reason why they want that is because it's two main reasons. One is to maintain their advantage, right? If you have money, so put yourself in the shoes of a person who has money and power. If you have money and power, what you want to do is do what? Hold on to your money and power. A way that you do so for your kids and your kids and your kids and your kids, right? So what do? That's a reason why white Americans don't want to give black people reparations. They don't. Why would they want us on equal footing with them? You see what I'm saying? I mean, they could say whatever they want to say, but that's really what it comes down to. They're like, why? I was talking to my friend who has $250,000 in student loan debt, right? This is before Bernie or any of them had rolled out this big plan to get rid of student loan debt. This was years ago, and I was saying we need a candidate to get, to push for getting rid of student loan debt, right? We need a candidate to push for free college for all. That's where I started. I'm sorry. And he said, yeah, I wouldn't vote for that person. I said, why not? He said, what's in it for me? He was like, I got $250,000 a student loan debt. Why would I want the next generation to come out of college debt free and have an advantage over me? See what I'm saying? And he's a normal, he ain't rich or nothing like that. He's a working class person, but that's what he believed. So I'm trying to tell you that's what these rich people, that's one of the reasons why they do that. And the other reason why they do that shit is because if you have healthcare and you have basic human needs met, you're going to keep asking for more and more shit because you're not going to be afraid. If you don't have to worry about healthcare, you don't have to worry about a place to sleep. You don't have to worry about what to eat. Your kids can go to school. These are basic human rights that are going to be met.
You can smoke weed when you
can smoke weed. Hey, do you
Whatever.
think you are going to fight so hard against the system at that point? You're going to rage against the machine so fucking hard. And it happens in every single country. That's like we were talking about in France. That's a reason why in France they're doing that right now. They're able to do
protesting
that.
Over something in France that was a lot less than something that we
like over here. They would have burned this shit down already. If Europe was as oppressed as America is right now, Europe would be on fire. You know what I'm saying? Like they would literally set that bitch on fire. If you went to South Korea and said and went to South Koreans and said, look, I got this great idea. We're gonna change your education system. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it to where the schools that we're gonna make the schools get money based on how much money that zip code produces. That's basically how we're gonna redistribute the money in each school district. We're gonna say, all right,
no, you're gonna have top-notch. Some of your schools
are gonna be top-notch. So the wealthy schools are gonna be top. South Koreans would probably like literally storm the castle and like pull the people, like they would kill. Like it would be a blood, like 1 million South Koreans would go to the streets and start maiming people. Right. Trust me. But in America, we take like that shit is like a normal way of life for us. Like we just accept that shit.
Like in other countries.
Hong Kong, they just ran through all. They ran all
into the
Senate building, the Parliament building there because they weren't having it.
Yeah, they're not playing. Other countries, they're not playing. But I think that, but you're absolutely right. The system does work for the people that it's designed to work for, right? But if you want the system to work for you, you have to get engaged and you have to get emotions to change things as a working class of people. And that requires a change in the way that we think. We can't have a defeatist attitude about this. It's not there's no easy fixes because it is hard work. But there are more people willing to rise up than you would think. Okay, it's just that there is a media pushback from mainstream media that would have you think that popular opinion is what you see coming out of that TV or on that radio, when in actuality, it is not popular opinion. It is actually the opinion of the richest, most powerful people that own them. These people don't even believe half the things they say because.
But to be fair, the people that are saying it believe it too because they're rich too. They're millionaires too. Like Rachel Maddow's rich.
It's like Chomsky said. It's like Chomsky said. He said, "Well, the fact that you're sitting right there
Yes.
If you didn't believe what you believe, if
You
you
wouldn't
believe
be-
that,
yeah.
you wouldn't be sitting right there. Right
Yeah,
now.
he was
They-
getting
you wouldn't
interviewed
even
by
get that
by
job.
Corporate Shield. The Corporate Shield was asking Chomsky questions, and Chomsky turned it back on him and was like basically like the reason why you're sitting in that chair is because you believe in the status quo. You are upholding the establishment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be there if you were me. They wouldn't promote you to that. They wouldn't. The same way they don't give niggas money that's gonna change the world. They would never give Huey P. Newton any real money.
Right.
They would never do that. They gave Martin Luther King money, and then he started changing the world. They killed him. You know what I'm saying? Like they would never give anybody who they really believe that's gonna really try to enact any real amount of change, money and power and influence. They won't do it. So and I don't want to get personal and start bashing people personally because I love all my black athletes. I love all my black entertainers. You know what I'm saying? I got love for them also. It's not, I'm not saying that, but them people ain't trying to change nothing, man. I don't care if they build a school in Africa. I don't care if they fucking donate 10,000 bottles of water to Flint. I don't give a fuck.
Capitalism made them who they are.
Yeah, why would they want to tear down the system?
They get paid to play a game.
Or to act, or to make a song, or whatever the
It's
case
great
may
that
be.
there's a market. I mean, the way capitalism works right now, yeah, your value to the market is dictated by a price. And if there's people willing to pay it, by all means, make it. I'm not saying that. That's the way the system is right now. But they know that any real change in that system would kind of destroy that kind of aspect of it in a lot of ways where those people were getting paid to play a game or to make
Say words on a beat.
Yeah.
right.
So
That nature stuff.
let's speaking of this, so let's transition a little bit. I want to get on the Kamala Harris's rollout plan to give $100 billion to black families.
And the new breaking news on that, where Kamala Harris and AOC have combined to introduce a bill that basically, when people against discrimination for felons when they're trying to get a place to live or living already. So this is a report from The Root. Kamala Harris and AOC introduced legislation that protects formerly incarcerated people against federal housing discrimination.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah. That's actual. I mean, I gotta read. I gotta get it down.
I just found that out right now.
Yeah.
Looking in on some articles about the housing thing. So we'll talk about the housing thing as soon as we get more information on that.
Because that just
That
happened.
happened today. So we'll talk
I
about
haven't had time to unpack that one. But so, what do you want to say? What do you feel about? So first, what is the bill entail?
Well, with
The $100 billion bill. I'm sorry.
okay. Well, with Kamala Harris's bill, it would give $25,000 towards either your closing costs or your down payment on a home to residents in traditionally or historically redlined areas across the nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically when we're talking about a historically redlined area. At one point in time, the FHA, the Federal Housing, the Federal, Federal Housing Association, who is responsible for setting national policy concerning housing, they were racist.
Are racist.
But they were outwardly racist. They weren't hiding it.
I think it's the same.
Yeah,
I feel the same, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm really good at seeing racism. So
right. If you have to be really good at seeing it to see it, then it's not.
They're hiding it better for sure. They're definitely hiding it better, but I'm really good. They're super racist.
They were outwardly racist.
Yeah.
And what they did was they sectioned off cities or areas, and advised banks that gave out loans for housing on the worthiness, the credit or the worthiness or the risks, risk level concerning each section. Okay, and surprise, surprise, the sections of cities that contain the most black people were also happened to be the more higher risk.
Mm-hmm. So if you live in zip code 90210, which is in Beverly Hills, and you go apply for a loan, right, for a small business or to get another house, more than likely you're going to get approved because they know that the vast majority of people that live in that neighborhood are white and affluent. So they know that. If you now, You can have the same credit score. You have a 720 credit score, and you can make $150,000 a year, right? Okay. Now, a black man, I want to go get a loan, but I live in 90810, which is where I grew up at, on the west side of Long Beach, right? And they know that is historically Black and Hispanic, and that's a high risk area. My credit's 720. I make $120,000 a year. I want to get the same fucking loan to move out and live in the same neighborhood that the person from 90210. They're going to deny me.
Right.
Your paper ain't the same.
And
No, paper's the same.
No, when I say paper, I'm talking about how they grade you. It's
Oh,
called
yeah,
A
yeah,
paper.
yeah,
It's called A++.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
called A+.
yes, exactly.
And that's just, I used to do loans, so it was one of the most disheartening things to see.
Mhm.
Was like, okay, literally what you just said is real life. Like, this person lives here, this person lives here, but they both got the same job.
Mhm.
They both make the same money. They got the same assets in the bank.
Yeah.
But you telling me they got to have a 12% interest rate to get this loan?
Yeah.
And over here, they only got to pay a 7%? Why?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the paper, but because of the paper that we see it as. The risk.
Yeah,
that
the
we see
risk
it
is
at.
higher, yeah.
And not only that, it's almost like this. Say I lived in the poor section of town and I wanted a house in the poor section of town.
Yes.
That might be okay.
Yes.
Say I'm rich.
Oh, yeah.
But say I'm in the medium section of town and I want to move to the poor section of town or stay in
That's
the
okay.
medium town. That's okay. But if I'm in the poor, high risk area or the medium risk area and I want to move to the high risk, to the low risk area
Mhm.
where I'm going to get the most value for
Yes.
my dollar,
Mhm.
I can't do that.
No.
That was what the point was. But then the person that's inside that area already can move around in that area
Yeah,
as they
buy
want.
up whatever they want to buy
And
up.
if they did let you do it, you were paying 2-to-1 opposed to the person.
Oh yeah, like to get in there, like
Oh,
if
yeah.
they did let you break through, you're gonna pay way more than the person that came from that area with the lower risk, from the lower risk area. And that is essentially what redlining was and is, because we are still being redlined to this day.
Oh, you believe that?
It hasn't stopped.
Yep.
Just the same way that politicians are racist and they use dog whistles. Barry Goldwater was the one who said after Barry Goldwater lost actually the presidential race back in I think it was 60, 65, 60, yeah, sometime around there. Barry Goldwater basically told his campaign manager, wasn't Barry Goldwater's campaign manager, said, "Hey, look, check this out. You can't call them niggers no more. You can't call them spicks and wetbacks, and you can't do that. So now we're going to do dog whistles. Now we're going to use this coded language. And now they call us welfare queens. They call us thugs. They call us super predators. That's where that came from. You know what I'm saying? It's all coded now. It's all coded now, but it's the same shit because the results are the same. Because where do we live? Don't we still live in the same neighborhoods? Don't we suffer from the same atrocity? You know what I'm saying? Like, so the shit hasn't changed. It just the verbiage changed.
Completely.
And one of the visible signs of redlining is, have you ever seen, and I mean, if you are black or if you're from a black neighborhood, you've seen it, where you see a house that someone owns, but your mom lives there, but it's her mama's house, and you live there,
Yeah.
and she's trying to kick you out, and you're like, no, this is Big Mama's house.
Yeah.
You got 3 people living in the same
3
house.
generations living in Big Mama house.
In Big Mama house.
Which is
Big
fine.
Mama owns
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah.
Big Mama pays her
Which is
mortgage,
fine.
paid her house
Yeah.
off a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it just shows that because that's a combination of the fact that even white people are having this problem.
Yes.
Where it's harder to own a home now. They're
Yeah.
all having that same problem.
Yeah.
But because of redlining, it affects us
The worst.
generationally the worst.
Yeah.
Right?
Like everything.
And
else.
so that's something that you see because of that, where home ownership, it was possible if you lived in a certain neighborhood,
Mhm.
Big Mama could get that house with her job and pay it off. For you to do the same thing now, because of the way that they
rigged it.
rig the interest rates, especially, and and credit and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You don't even have that opportunity. They're taking even that small opportunity that you had in home ownership to do that. To do that.
To get
Right?
a home. Yeah.
And you want to know, it's a very interesting point that I was thinking right now when you guys were talking about that. The people that you would complain about this to would simply look at you and tell you, you guys have a black person running the Housing and Urban Development Department.
Yeah.
So how can we be racist if that's the person
But
that's
all
running?
skin folk ain't kin folk.
Well,
We all know. Well, we know that.
Yeah. It has nothing
But
to do with it.
that's the immediate response. We all know that.
The system the system is racist. You know what I'm saying? And when the people who set the system up were racist, right? They rigged it in such a way that it would negatively and disproportionately affect Black people, brown people, poor people, whatever, right? So it don't matter who you put in there. If they themselves aren't going to fight against the system, then and they're just going along with the status quo, then they're basically upholding white supremacy, racism, whatever you want to call it, classism.
And,
I don't know.
Dr.
Ben Carson.
Dr. Ben Carson is a conservative.
And I know, Tom. I was waiting on you to say that. I know he from the hood, but everybody from the hood ain't all good.
No.
That's all I'm saying.
He's a conservative. So let's kind of move past skin tone and let's look at ideology.
Mm-hmm.
Because his ideology does more to shape policy than his skin tone ever will.
Yeah, for sure.
If he's not in the White House because of his skin color and Trump saying, I need a Black person here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Trump doesn't care. His whole cabinet could have been white. He wouldn't care. You just have to do it. He's there because he agrees with Trump. Yeah. Because of some of the things that he was saying during those debates, he was like, look, I got me a guy right here that I can put in this spot. Mm-hmm. And it just helps that he's Black.
No, but he did something. Like Trump is all about favors, like favor for a favor. You know what I'm saying? So Ben Carson after he dropped out and he backed him and so on and so, you know what I mean? Like, so that's pretty much why he was just like, that's all he was doing, just making deals with everybody. He's the great deal maker. So that's a big reason why Ben Carson got there. It's kind of like nepotism in a way. You know what I'm saying? Except he's not his family member, but
prostitution.
Yeah, definitely
nepotism is not your family member.
I would say prostitution would be a way better word to describe.
Sold his soul.
So with that being said, what would you say? What's good about the Kamala Harris proposed bill?
The good thing about Kamala Harris' proposed bill is that it shows that somebody is concerned about Black people voting for them. That's the good thing about it.
And that it points out the actual inequality.
And it does bring up that it alerts other people, because there's people that are going to hopefully piggyback off of or slam dunk on this idea. Mm-hmm. And sometimes somebody comes out with a good idea and then somebody comes out with a better idea.
Yeah. But she's not a real progressive. So
right. Case in point, Elizabeth Warren rolls out her up to $50,000 of student loan forgiveness. Mm-hmm. Bernie comes over the top, dunks on her with a full forgiveness pact.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this just sprouts more ideas. But another good thing about it is it exposes Kamala Harris's agenda. Because the more Kamala Harris is out of her strength in this campaign is she is the cleanest, tidiest type of candidate, as far as polishing. Mm-hmm. She's an overachiever. Mm-hmm. And she's like that candidate. Any of you guys ever had to interview somebody if you're in a position, or management position at your job or something like that, or you own a business and you had to interview and hire somebody? She's that perfect interview.
Yeah. She knows how to answer all the questions. Right.
She's gonna come in. She's gonna be.
She looks the part.
She's got the credentials. She is. Yeah. To me, she's like, if you just they used to have this term of how presidential someone was.
Yes.
She is the most presidential person in the whole thing.
For sure.
She looks the part. Like if you were casting a president in a movie, you could have Kamala Harris play the president.
I think she's actually a better speaker than Obama. Oh yeah. I don't know about more powerful or more, you know what I'm saying?
But much more polished.
I'm saying more polished though. Obama, I'm just saying in their cadence and whatnot. She's like when she speaks, because she's a litigator, she's a prosecutor. You know what I'm saying? She knows how to freaking just talk.
Yeah, Obama also a lawyer, but
he wasn't as smooth.
He wasn't even practicing the way she was
in it. She was actually.
He was a lawyer by paper.
Yeah,
she was a lawyer by practice. She went in there and put people in prison. You know what I mean?
Fighting in politics in Chicago.
Yeah.
He
went to law school.
Right. He went to law school, and he wasn't no slouch. He was the
editor of the law review.
For sure. He was the man.
He got that money.
But he don't have the hours law. If we can go to flight school, but the person that ends up flying the most is going to be the best pilot.
That's the best pilot, yeah.
She is the best pilot. She's
dope. She's dope in a lot of ways. Same way Obama was dope in a lot of ways. And that's what makes people fall for them.
Right. And she's charismatic. Man, I wanna Kamala Harris.
Me too.
But it's just that,
I would vote for her in a heartbeat if she was halfway progressive.
or
I'd
if
be like,
I was not if I wasn't as savvy, you know.
yeah, for sure.
If my eyes were closed to this thing, you know what I mean, I would vote. I'd probably be like, oh yeah, come here, she's from California, whatever, represent. But the thing is, the more she speaks, the more she rolls out, the higher she gets in the polls, the more you're going to hear her, the more people are going to be, she's going to get it.
Somebody's going to attack her.
As
the
the field gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's less people on the debate stage, she's going to get exposed. So things like this that get people listening to her, so that it's going to make it, the higher up you are, the bigger your fall. She's going to be that, I'm just waiting for someone to put the progressive smackdown.
They call her. They were calling her. I was saying that Trump would come up if she ever got against Trump. He would call her flip flopping Kamala, and it would be a wrap. But they call her Chameleon Harris, and I was like, oh, that's a way better name than I came up with. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like because she is she literally changes. Like from the next day, like she raised her hand and was like, yeah, I'm from healthcare for all. And then the next day it was like, wait, I thought you were saying
that's the
I
second
gave
rollback.
A second time, like. She does that consistently. I'm like, you're too smart for that. We know you know what's up. Like, I understood what they were saying. I'm a freaking idiot, so I know you know. Yeah, I would say that just getting back to her policy, I think that it's a Band-Aid for a bullet wound. I don't think it's going to help anybody on a for the most part, not anybody. I don't think it's going to help that many people because if you give me, like, we live in Southern California, right? If you give me $25,000 to put down on the home, I put down my $25,000, right? I move in. I still got to pay the mortgage. I still got to pay insurance. I still got to pay for upkeep, so on and so forth.
I still work for
property tax.
Property tax.
Which is probably the biggest pitfall that she hasn't addressed because that's how most people lose houses that they already paid off.
Yeah, it's the property tax.
I still work for a temp agency. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm in California.
Yeah. So how am I going to afford this home long term? Is the question. So yeah, you can help me get into the home, but how can I afford it long term? You can give me 20. It's just like this. Like I sell cars. So if I give you a down payment for a car, I give you a down payment for a Jaguar, for $100,000 Jaguar. Go, here go 10 G's. You put down 10 G's. That's 10% of the car. That's wild. 10 G's. You put down 10 G's on a $60,000 car, right? $50,000 left over plus tax and license. You're paying $55,000, whatever the case may be.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, what's your payment? Your payment is $900, $850, something like that. I can't afford an $850 payment long term. Maybe I can do it for a couple months. You know what I'm saying? I can't afford that shit long term. That's essentially to me what's gonna happen. She's rushing to get to that point, and I'm like, wait, baby. Before you do that though, we gotta address this wealth gap. You see what I'm saying? Majority of the majority of people that make minimum wage are black, right? I think it's like 40% of workers on minimum wage are African American. So if the majority of black people not the majority of black people make minimum wage, but the majority of people on minimum wage are black, how are they ever going to move out? Because we're trying to me, we should be trying to help the lowest, not the mid. Like you never like people are talking about the middle class, right? Save the middle class. Okay, cool. But the truth of the matter is, in any problem you have, you don't start in the middle. You start at the bottom.
Right.
See what I'm saying? I don't understand that logic. Why don't we start in the middle? The middle class ain't gonna pull up the bottom.
Right.
They never have.
Some people that's their dream to make it to the middle class.
Yeah, the middle class is where people go to die a lot of times. So what we need to do is we need to help the bottom, and this doesn't address the bottom. This will help like somebody like me. This will help me. If you gave me $25,000, I can pay the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get like if I don't have the money saved up, yeah, for sure. Give me $25,000. Now I got money for a down payment and so on and so on. I can pay the mortgage. I can pay the tax and all that stuff. I got the money for that. Right. It'll help a good amount of middle class people, and that's cool. But we need something that's gonna help poor people. I would say instead of taking $100 billion, giving it to the middle class, how about we take $100 billion and help all these damn homeless people on the street? Because that is ridiculous. Like I live in Redlands, you know what I'm saying?
San
Bernardino. Like we don't even live in the city, man. And I'm like stepping over homeless people left and right. So I can't, like you live anywhere where it's urban.
Right.
it's
terrible. Right
it's
now.
crazy right now, and the reason for that was because people were losing their homes,
Mhm.
and the rent is really high.
And let's talk about a little bit about when we're talking about buying these homes. Say I'm in a position now where I'm just outside of being able to buy a home, but a $25,000 credit
Mhm.
would actually make me able to buy a home.
Yeah.
And when I buy that home, okay, let's say I'm not overstepping my boundary. I really could afford a home, but maybe I just needed some help on the closing costs or help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it helped me get into a home. Now, so I'm buying a home in the same neighborhood, the traditionally, because that's for it's in order for people to buy homes in the traditionally red line neighborhood.
She did put in there too, by the way. She did put in there, if I'm not mistaken, she put a provision in there to address the banks from discriminating against people, different.
Yeah, and that's passing the buck because I think the FHA is the one that was really doing it. The banks are only going to do it if the government allows it. So I think that's passing the buck.
Yeah. Okay.
But let's say that the okay, sorry, I got a disturbing text. My baby hitting his head on the floor.
No,
She's okay though. But but when housing is, they're saying that housing, the reason that economically Black people, there's a gap. One reason for this income gap is because buying a home is quote unquote the best investment you can make in generationally.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's other factors involved that make buying a home, that people that buy homes do inside of the home, that actually makes it generational wealth, generational wealth, not just buying a home. You know what I mean?
Because how does that create wealth if you're just sitting on if you're just putting money into a home and you own a home for 30 years?
And they're talking about equity, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
But equity is all based on what they say your house is worth.
Right.
So it's really not a fair game plan.
Let me make my point.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
When you buy a home in a good neighborhood, you will make money off the home. You can very well do it. It's a good investment. When you make a good investment, you get a good return. When you make a bad investment, you make a bad return. See, the whole thing is the red line risk thing, that still exists.
Yes.
And so since you buy a home in a traditionally or historically red line neighborhood of low property value, what do you think your return on investment is going to be? It's going to be low, or you're going to lose an investment.
It's just like playing.
Because there's no guarantees in an investment. You could lose it. So I think that you're still setting people up that can afford homes to make bad investments because you're encouraging investment into low value property.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
There's no indication that value of that property is going to rise to the level that makes that investment worth it.
Here's the thing. Like, my mom lives in Redlands. She bought her house for $500,000.
Shit.
Wow. $500,000, right? She came in, and my mom's a nurse. She came in with a decent handful of money. Now, she refinanced the home. Immediately after refinancing the home lost $150,000 worth of value.
Shit.
How?
That because they dictate what the value of your home is. You will never be able to control how much your home is worth. That's the first and foremost thing.
Yeah, the market.
That homeowners.
The market is supposed to.
That's exactly how it works. Like San Bernardino, the reason you can walk in San Bernardino right now and buy a house for $80,000 is because when the subprime crisis hit, people walked away from houses, and the bank said, "We're going to have to make money back from these houses."
Yeah.
So when they said, "Look, if we can make do with selling this house for $150,000, how much do you think the neighbor who actually kept their house is worth?"
Oh yeah, drop everybody's property value with it.
Now it used to be racially. If you move Black people, and that was part of redlining as well, was that if you move Black people into the neighborhoods, because they are welfare queens, they are thugs, they do raise children that don't behave. They brought the property value down. Black people started to do what? They started to get educated. They started to get very good jobs. They started to make money that was comparable to the people that were assumed to be good homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do in turn to make sure that you still keep the power over the people instead of them feeling like they're buying something that's a good investment? You always make them feel like they're on the bubble. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have moved away from wanting to buy homes because they're afraid that if they sink their money into a home, even if they pay it off, they paid more for something that's worth less.
Well, but that's the thing. So no matter what, if you buy there, you can't. The only way you can make money on a home is if you buy it and you flip it fast.
Exactly.
If you buy it and you flip it fast, then you could potentially make money on the home. If you buy a home on a block where all the homes are priced at $550,000 and you buy it for $420,000 and you put $40,000 into it and you sell it for $560,000 and then your net profit is $100,000, then cool. That's when you make money. But if you buy a home for $500,000 and you live in it for 30 years and you pay a 30-year mortgage on it at 4.4% or 5.5%, at the end of the loan, you would have paid for the home 2.5 times. So even if you sell it, and even if the home is worth $1 million when you sell it, the best case scenario is you break even. You're not gonna make money if you buy a home. Like that's the big lie. Like they've been telling us that for fucking 60 years.
And that's where you get the where there was the emergence of the refinances. They were all over TV as far as, hey, you can refinance your house, ahead of the housing bubble. People were taking equity out of their homes and getting what was the,
and that's the second biggest lie they took.
125% of the equity on that loan there. They give you 125% of your equity.
And the rates were not secured rates.
Right.
They were adjustable rates.
So and then the sellers, the realtors or the people selling the loans, loan officers, say, well, your loan could go down. But it could go up.
But you didn't care because you just saw the money.
Your interest rate may vary.
We were talking about that before we got off.
Payments on time. And people were making their payments on time thinking that their interest rate was going to go down. But they would actually go up, and then a balloon payment would arrive at their home. And they wouldn't be able to pay.
Look, there was at a certain point, I mean, like we was discussing this before we even took to the camera, but I worked in the mortgage industry. And one of the famous stories that you would always hear, a loan officer who's trying to make a payday tell their client, just make your interest-only payment. If nothing else, I mean, you had some snakes out there that tell people to get the neg am, tell them to make the minimum payment. Of course, we all know how that turned out. But there were people that would, in good faith, say, hey, if you're not planning on living in this house for 10, 15 years, just pay your interest only. In your home.
Property value could very well go up.
It could very well go up. But we all know that the more viable option is it will go down.
Or even if you don't, they typically do go because inflation is so like, so the property value, the value quote unquote does go up. But I'm saying if you're paying interest, which you are on a loan, if you don't own the home, that's the greatest lie. People got to stop acting like you own the home. That's funny. Just like you don't own your car. If you're paying for it, you don't own it. You possess it, but you don't own it. When you go look at, do you have the title to your car? Do you have the title to your home? If you don't, then you don't own it. You get it after you get done paying it off. And if you're paying interest on a $500,000 home, on a $350,000 home, on a $700,000, whatever the case may be, you aren't going to get ahead and you're going to lose money ultimately. You can say whatever. Like I told you before, if you give me the option of like if I have a loan, and this is not how it works, I'm just making a scenario just so you can understand what I'm saying. If you said, Prince, you could take $500,000 and buy a home. I give you a loan. Whatever you want to do with it, you could take $500,000 and buy a home, or you could take $500,000 and open up 10 wing stops. And still live in your fucking apartment and pay $1,500 a month rent. I would open up 10 wing stops to live in my apartment.
You and every other Asian person.
That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't make.
I'm not trying to raise it.
No, it is what it is. Now,
I'm alluding to the savvy that the Asian migrants have had in the back business.
If Black people wanted to, as a group, if we wanted to practice group economics, I would be fine with owning a home.
Right.
I would be fine if
we could stand each other enough to actually live in a house without somebody running, "What's my house?"
or whatever the case may be. If me and my mom and my uncles and we raised we got 2 or 3 generations in there, 2 or 3 families in there, and cool, I'm with that.
Everybody's ready to
and we pay off that house in 5 years, and then we buy another. Yeah, we can do that. That's smart. But you yourself, you and your wife, you and your husband, trying to buy a home, own a home, pay it off for 30 to 25 years or whatever. I don't care what, I know it's people, I ain't even read the comments. I know a lot of people that own homes and they think that shit is fun. Oh yeah, you ain't making money off that shit.
Well, and then think about it like this too, when you might have an idea of, like, some of you guys aren't some of you guys are entrepreneurs and don't have a business because of your home and your mortgage payment. You guys have to go. You have to show up and work for whoever and punch a clock, and you're stuck doing that for $100,000, the best 100,000 hours of your life, and you may very well, pay off your house and get some kind of benefit out of it.
And then sell it, because most old people sell their homes. Like when they get to a certain age, I want to live in no fucking home.
What you gave in return is not worth it, because again, because of the way that they treat the working class here, you're creating and producing a lot more money than anything near what you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Even if you're making what you consider a good salary, $80,000, $100,000, you better believe you're producing millions for someone in exchange for that.
For sure.
Now that we're on the subject of camels, I know we're going to have to transition in a second, but I want to ask both of you guys a question about it. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the $25,000 or the $100 billion should be allocated in a specific manner where it's meant for just owner-occupied homes, or should it be allowed to be used for rental properties as well for investment purposes?
I would like for it to, if you could.
Because you said that was a very eloquent thing you said about the wing stuff. I like that.
If you gave me $25,000 and I could put it down on a freaking duplex or on a multi-unit dwelling or some situation, 4 units of for sure. You give me 25 racks, I'll put it in there. I might even live in one of them motherfuckers. I might fix it up and be living like Prince Hakeem in them. I have my shit decked out with the pool. Like I might do that. Like I will be, if they do that, then that's a really good idea. But I don't know if they're gonna be like, let's get stipulations, single family residence.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're gonna do that.
I think that the whole idea itself needs to be rethought. But if it's just that basic, where you could have the option, that would just, more options are better.
For sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, yeah.
You got any comments?
Yep.
I find it to be a very good idea. As soon as I heard it, that was like what I just asked you. That's the first thing I thought about was, how are they going to distribute the funds? And that's always my question with any type of thing, even with reparations, anything where it's money getting sent or handed out. How is it going to be distributed? What are the rules behind what you're going to do? How do you qualify for it? So I think, in my opinion, there needs to be a little more information from what she's saying about it, or like what her plan is. But I like what she's trying to do. I like what she's saying about it. And one of the things you said, friend of the people, that I like is that even if her idea isn't the best one, somebody will take hold of it and they'll try to expand upon it. Somebody will use that as a platform. Yeah. And
they'll try to one up her.
Yeah, they'll try to make it a little bit better, a little bit more clear and concise. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Absolutely.
I do agree. I think I really appreciate what she's doing. I appreciate her bringing it to the forefront, because home ownership in the Black community is definitely something that we see a decline on, even in neighborhoods where Black people are predominantly at. We're renting homes, but we're renting homes from people that own the homes, and they're making more money on us. And we're not ever having, I don't know if I can even say it that way, but we're not the people that have, or we're not the ones that have our communities as our communities.
No, we should own the property. Ultimately, I wish that if you rent a home or you rent an apartment, I wish that the person who owned the apartment building was Black, right? Like that would be dope. But also, though, it's cool if you could rent and own a business. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? In your own community. Like you don't need to own a home to own a business, to start a bit like that. Like Tyrone was saying, that actually a lot of cases will stop you from owning a business. You know what I'm saying? So that is where I'm coming from. Like I've researched this a lot personally for my own, you know what I'm saying? Like for my own personal life. And that's the conclusion I came to. And there are varying opinions out there, and I'm sure people will disagree, and that's fine. I'm just telling you what, if I literally could write it out on a piece of paper and show you the math and be like, look, it doesn't make it, like, mathematically, if you're paying 4.4% for fucking 30 years, this is what you're going to end up paying for the house. So your house would have to go up X amount of dollars for you to actually make money if you sold it in 30 years. If you do it in 10 years, this is how much you're going to pay. If you do it in 15 years, this is how much the bank is going to beat you. That is what they do. You can't beat that is what it is. The only way you can beat the bank is buy it in cash. If you have enough money to buy a home in cash, by all means buy your home in cash.
Right.
For sure. Totally different game. We're not talking about the same thing at that point. But if you're going to mortgage your home, yeah, it's not the same thing. But yeah, let's go. Let's move on. Let's transition.
Transitionally, we're going to I'm going to talk a little bit about we're going to talk about immigration reform. I think that also is a very a hot button issue. We're trying to make sure that we, people try to, it's something you need to evaluate without emotion. I think it makes the same amount of sense whether you're emotional about it or not.
Right.
But there needs to be some real solutions concerning immigration reform.
Mhm.
And before you guys start saying, or any of you guys out there start saying it, you know what I mean? What about black people? Okay, we care about black people.
Of course.
But we're going to talk about immigration reform, okay? And what they're doing to the migrants. This is a report from MSNBC by Jacob Sobroff and Julie Ainsley and it says, poor treatment of migrant children at the hands of the U.S. border agents in recent months extends beyond Texas to include allegations of sexual assault and retaliation for protests, according to dozens of accounts by children held in Arizona, collected by government case managers and obtained by NBC News. So there's been cases of sexual assault. There have been cases of, again, punishment for protesting, punishments for asking for basic needs. And these are children being affected.
Women,
men,
it don't matter. Everybody.
Yeah, they let them inside we've all seen the photos.
Mhm.
Men, women being herded like cattle.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Under some of the worst conditions you don't treat your worst of your criminals
Mhm.
for misdemeanor. And then they won't even let you into the children's camp. They have to get shots from afar and things of that nature. But
because they know that shit will break people's hearts.
But they finally allowed these children to see social workers and psychologists. And these social workers and these psychologists spoke up to NBC News.
Mhm.
They don't have to keep the government secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They came out and they care about those children, and they came out and they told them, they spoke exactly what those children were saying to them.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, Prince.
Yes.
It's a very, what is your just offhand evaluation and assessment of what appears to be a very complex and problem
Mhm.
with these camps?
I mean, my first initial thought about them is that I'm not one of those people that say stuff like, can't believe it's happening in America.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm an avid studier and I love studying history.
Right.
There's nothing negative wise. There's nothing that can happen in America that will shock me.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. Like kids in camps doesn't shock me. It's happened before. It happened to black people during slavery. It happened during World War II. Japanese people. So this shit's happened before. The camps were built. Nobody said anything when the camps were built. And so my thing is this: the America right now resembles Nazi Germany. Very much so. We're very parallel to Nazi Germany. If there were 5 stages, I would say we're in stage 2.5. like it's like we're almost there. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't just starting, but it ain't, towards the, like at the very end of it, hasn't fully come to fruition. But if you would, like you were saying before, I know people, oh, what about black people? Da, 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 da. So here's how it affects black people. Here's how it will affect black people, or can affect black people. If they're putting immigrants, and a lot of these immigrants are black too. That's what we're not, we don't talk about that, but whatever. I'm neither here nor there. These people that they're putting in cages, I don't care what race they are, I don't care what ethnicity they are, what country they're from, they're putting these people in cages. What do you think they're going to do to us in America, black people specifically? We are second-class citizens in this country.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they hate immigrants more right now. Right now. Not historically. Right now, they hate immigrants more than they hate black people for the time being. They're using them as a political ploy to gain power, to drum up their base, to get their base all fucking hot and heated and shit like that, right? Like that's what they're doing this for, right? They don't care about immigration. The immigration was at a net zero when Obama was in office. There's not an influx of immigrants coming to America right now. They need to put a kibosh on that shit. That's not what's happening. They're like, how can we trick our constituents and make them think that these people are to blame for their problems, for them losing their jobs, these poor people from these other countries. We need to put the focus on them, and that's what they're doing right now. What I'm saying is that if we turn a blind eye to this shit, and black people, white, whoever the fuck, just the people in this country, working class people, if we turn a blind eye to this shit, they will come after us next. We are the next step.
Right. It's like they locked up the journalist, and I didn't trip because I wasn't a journalist. Right?
Yeah.
But then they came for me.
Yeah.
And nobody was around.
And nobody was around to tell my story. Yeah. So that's what's gonna happen. They're already locking up the journalists.
Right.
See what I'm saying? They're locking up the children.
It's an authoritarian ploy right now.
So we need to so fuck. Don't let this media get you all hype and get you when they say stuff like they gonna give whatever to immigrants and y'all get all mad, like what about us? And okay, cool. I get it, right? I understand. We got problems that we need to address. For us, for sure, we got issues we need to address for us. Without a doubt. I'm not saying that stuff. I also understand that immigrants, typically speaking, that come to America, don't give a fuck about black people. That's not what I'm not on some like.
Right.
I'm not on that stuff. Like I'm not trying to protect it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not about that. I'm thinking in the case of self-interest. I'm saying we need to tear down those camps.
Right.
And self-preservation, I'm like, dude, because I know for one thing I know for sure about America is they will come after black people.
Right.
Like it will hurt us the most. I don't care I don't even understand as a black person how you could cheer for that shit.
Right.
I don't even understand how you could turn a blind eye to that shit. How that doesn't have this like automatic like connection and recall from generations of that shit happening to us. Like I don't understand how you can't empathize with it.
Right.
So
one thing that I want to do, because I know that the people that are in the comments and people that are watching it now, most of them are black people. Okay. And I want you guys to understand something, that these people are you. And you have to understand first and foremost, these people are humans. Okay. Don't, the label, illegal immigrant, undocumented worker, whatever.
they're just people.
Those are people. Those are children. Okay. And one thing, that we have always had as part of our culture is no matter how bad things got for us, when we were, break Reconstruction and on, and then the reversal of that Reconstruction, Jim Crow, segregated, unfairness, inequality. One thing that we've always had was a heart for our people. Mm-hmm. These people are you. You might look at a skin color or a way of thinking or an ethnicity, but the things that these people are running away from are the things that we were powerless to even run away from.
Mm-hmm.
They're running from the same thing, and they're running toward the same things that we're actually running toward ideologically, where we're looking for better opportunities for our family. Mm-hmm. They're doing the same thing, okay? And that's if that's a crime, they've made that a crime in America for people to come. What happened to the Statue of Liberty? One of the things I think of when I think about America is the Statue of Liberty, bring me your poor huddled masses. Mm-hmm. Well, those are the poor huddled masses that they've locked in that cage. Mm-hmm. And when the color of the skin of the poor huddled masses changed,
that's when the ideology changed.
Yeah, even though they weren't looking at those Italians and Irish people, even though they didn't like them, Native Americans, white Americans did not like those people when they first came over, right? Mm-hmm. They still acknowledge their humanity.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say something because Ty said something. I've been thinking about it. It's going to be ask me my opinion on it. Mm-hmm. Why don't they go to Canada? Why are there no camps on the Canadian border? Because I'm pretty sure there's people coming through Canada all the time.
No, it's not, because they get free healthcare over there.
No. I watch a lot of border security. I watch TV. Okay. But one thing that I will tell you is there are Canadians that will come here.
But not in the same.
They're not in mass. They're not in mass. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter. If you're going to put people in a camp because they're coming here illegally, you do it to everybody.
Mhm.
Now, what do we know about Canada that's fundamentally true? What is the predominant nationality?
Yeah, it's white people. Yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah.
So now you have the whole point that like y'all are making, which is, and I'm saying the same thing the boys are saying too. They are us. They are us. They fundamentally are treating them. If nothing else, if you're a black person and you're looking at what's going on with immigration to the Mexican people here, know that's only one step away from what they want to do to you. That's what they would want.
They did it to us, though. They doing it to us,
and they want to do it again.
It's not just Mexicans coming up here.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying anybody from Central America. I'm talking anybody.
Yeah.
But what it is we already here. They already whooped on us enough, and somebody someday, one day said, you know what, it's enough of that. And it's only been 50 years since they stopped whooping on us like they used to. 50 years, keep that in mind. But they never, ever, 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 ever press nobody that match their skin tone. That's a fact.
No, they used to fuck with the Irish. They
fuck with. Look, they ain't never built no O'Rourke camp. I'm just keeping it a whole buck. You know what I'm saying? They did it to the Japanese, and that was more.
In order to do, there has to be another step. See, in order to do these type of things, and like I was explaining, to you before, in order to do these type of things, you have to detach yourself from the humanity of the people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Humans can't do this clear consciously to other humans.
Or
you can't convince huge amounts of humans to agree and to not agree with this unless
you dehumanize the person. Yeah,
See, that's the was that even though these Irish people were, oh, you're taking my job, and it was the same rhetoric behind it, they were not dehumanizing those people, and eventually they assimilated these people into
they dehumanized the hell out of Irish. They did do that.
Let's be real. We're talking historically. They did this. It's the
same thing.
It's the same playbook with everybody. Dehumanize the Irish. They dehumanize the Germans. Everybody that came over here, the Italians, they did the same fucking thing. Y'all,
they did it.
And I don't want to be the like go watch this movie type shit. I'm just gonna reference a movie, but look at fucking Gangs in New York.
Oh yeah.
Like I know that wasn't like real for real. It was theatrical, but it was like that though. Like that's where we got gangbanging from. Like really, we got it from them. That's where organized crime came from. You know what I'm saying?
They called their neighborhoods Hell's Kitchen. Like if that don't tell you how they thought about you, and they was the same skin tone. It was just they had an accent, they ate cabbage.
And then people hate us too. That's what I'm saying. Don't get it twisted. The Irish hated us. They hate us now. That's what I'm saying. I know these things. The only thing I'm trying to say is that if we allow this shit to happen to anybody, it will happen to us ultimately. I guarantee you. And it will happen to poor white people. It'll happen to. That's what I'm saying. Anybody could get it. And just say, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. So that's where I'm coming from with it. I'm not even coming from like I do have tons of empathy for them, but I don't even want to appeal to people on that level because I feel like if I got to try to appeal to you on that level and you don't get that by now, then I don't feel like we're going to see eye to eye.
We'll never really meet in the middle if you can't even agree that
these people
are human.
Like
these are children, and that these people are no different than you because they have a different ethnic background or a different skin color. But and you would be surprised if you looked in there how many actually have the same skin color as you, their ancestors actually came off the same ships that your ancestors came off.
You're right, Todd. Mm-hmm. They do have to make themselves hate us in order to be able to abuse us for profit. This is out of all the things that I think, even when AOC went. And, I like AOC. I don't really have too much negative to say about her, but I also thought that was a political ploy when she went. The reason being is because as soon as she left, they put a video out behind it to say, look how we are treating them. Look how we did. Look, let me show you what she got wrong here. So you can see that your taxpayer dollar isn't going to waste. What she's saying as a politician is furthering her cause because I can show you it. Mind you, we all three sitting here know that when they beat your ass in the jail cell, they're going to dress you up to look nice when you go and cry about how you got your ass beat in the jail cell. There's no abuse here. Look how we treat them. We give them food. We have blankets. We have.
But she called that out though. She pointed that out. She said they were terrible. And this is them on
their best behavior. And I'm saying, I watched the Facebook video maybe about 2 days after that, and it was an actual warden or whatever you want to tell them about.
When they drank the water.
He's showing them And of course you're gonna do that. But my point is now, when people were beginning, because AOC has a large base of people that are progressive, and they're like, hey, we already thought this was fucked up. But now we can really believe it's fucked up. And she wasn't even the only politician that went.
And just think about that's what I'm doing.
She wasn't even the only one that went that actually, because they took her phone.
Right.
There was another, I forget his name, but he had his phone and there ain't got
Julio.
Yeah, and he took pictures.
Julio Castro.
But not only that, think of it like this. Think about it like this. If she went alone and maybe with her people, maybe she comes out and says something as a ploy. And you could say one politician, and I don't trust AOC.
Oh, I'm not saying she was a part of the political ploy. I'm saying it was a political ploy.
To people that would say that it's a
Okay.
political ploy, it's a response. But to say AOC, okay, Ilhan Omar was there. Ayanna Presley was there. Rashid Tlaib was there. Rashid Tlaib and Castro was there. They I'm not going to question the integrity of all of those people.
Yeah.
No.
You could tell, just if you just looked at Sister Presley and what she said, you could tell she saw something.
Yes. I mean, the pictures that were taken.
She saw something or something that really touched her, and it was the women crying because even if they were treating them in the best behavior possible up in there, they did everything to do the word said was true. These women are still separated from their children.
I was just about to say the same damn thing. No matter how nice you treat them,
they could be in a 5-star hotel.
You're still dehumanizing these people. Whether just because you lock me up and you feed me filet mignon, don't mean you ain't still got me locked up. Period. Point blank.
I want to hear. I can't stand it when the same black people, because I can go online to a CPS, anti-CPS website. CPS is kidnapping kids, or I can go to a child support website and this bitch won't let me see my kids. And they know how much you want your kids and love your kids. And no matter what the situation was, and now could you imagine being in a place you've never been before, locked up, not knowing what your future is about, and not knowing where your kid is at all, and not knowing who's taking care of them, and actually hearing about reports of sexual abuse, overcrowding, and things of that nature, and you don't know if your kid is one of the people that's lost in that sauce.
Hold on. I'm going to even hit you with some real hard.
And those actually for the most part, are the same people that will get on to a chat line and say, well, we need to worry about our people.
I'm going to hit y'all with a hard-hitting fact that I read today. And this is why I said it was a political ploy. Because we all know who I call him Fuckface Acosta. Excuse my French, but that's his name. The Labor Secretary. Do you know what he proposed? You know what he proposed today, right? He proposed cutting the human trafficking funding from $68 million to $18.5 million. And what are we talking about right now? What's going on right now that we even started this conversation for? Because these children are complaining about what? Sexual abuse. Now, if you have a ton of fucking camps, what can you do with them? You can traffic them wherever you want, right?
For sure,
So if you have less money if you have less money in the budget to prevent that,
even more,
I'm just telling you, like as soon as she left, it was a weird ass conversation that the dude put on the video, because I was like, why would you even have to do a video for that? If you weren't doing anything that was wrong, you don't need to defend yourself. We all know that. If I don't break no laws, I'm not going to defend myself. But beyond that, for them to say that and then turn around and say, there's no problem here, this is blown up. And then for somebody who's already, we're not on that subject tonight on the whole Epstein shit. That's a whole nother can of worms. But when you go before a Senate committee and say, hey, we need to reduce the amount of money for human trafficking. And we have camps with unprotected children and women. But even still, when he presented it, there was somebody in Congress that literally said to him, you want to take money away from something that is a huge issue that we're working on every day to try to stop. And you want to take money from it, and we already know you leaning on how children are getting treated.
They all.
When he got grilled out. I forget who it was. It was one of the black representatives in Congress, of course. But she grilled him out, like what are you trying to do here?
Let me touch on this because I did touch on who was there. I want to touch on who wasn't there, and one person that wasn't there was Nancy Pelosi.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm going to show you the difference between progressives like AOC, Presley. to lead, and a Democrat,
A liberal.
a liberal,
A liberal.
like Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was not there, but Nancy Pelosi and knows about the problem.
Mhm.
They're not holding Trump's feet to the fire on this problem.
Oh,
They
no.
gave him 4.8 billion.
And they actually all they did was sit back in Washington and throw money at the problem.
Mhm.
Gave Trump basically a blank check,
Mhm.
not even understanding what he's going to do with the money, not even knowing.
He gonna use it to build defense.
Right.
The gate, whatever.
Whatever it is.
The wall.
He's gonna keep, but did not negotiate any kind of policy changes.
Yeah.
Just gave the money to what, border patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the
Just
fuck knows
give
what
more
they gonna
funding
do with it?
to border patrol, ICE. Why do they exist? These are
Because
things
they're the
that
Roundup
these are things
boys.
should not exist.
Yeah.
Remember, do
We
you
don't need
remember?
ICE. America does not need ICE.
Do you remember a
America does not
time?
need the border patrol.
You know,
Do you remember a time when Teddy Roosevelt had the Buffalo Riders? Right.
Mhm.
What were the Buffalo Riders for?
To kill Indians.
And Mexicans. That was back in Pancho Villa's time. If you remember who Pancho Villa was, he wasn't nothing more than a gangster, but he was a Mexican gangster.
Right.
And the Mexican people that lived in America gravitated to him, especially those in Texas, because that
He
was
was
still
like
their
Robin Hood.
he was their Robin Hood. And the Buffalo Riders were put in place
Mhm.
to go and whack that shit out.
Yeah.
ICE, Border Patrol, those are your modern day Buffalo Riders. Because what do? They ride through the desert and they go and hunt human beings down.
Mhm.
And they're not hunting them down to send them home. Now they're hunting them down to put them in pens.
Mhm.
Pens, those camps, by the way, are only situated for people to stay up for a maximum of 60 hours.
Yeah.
And there are people that are there for 60 days or more.
Yeah.
People have been there for weeks. And this is when there have been talks even from politicians of actually just riding down on those places.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's what I mean. That's
Yes.
what at this point it's gotten to the point to where the people or whoever, we need 10,000 people need to go down there and be like, "What you gonna do? Shoot us?" Like, and just let everybody like that's how bad it's gotten. Like that's the thing. Like we always like in America, where America has done a really good job. I've said this 1,000 times, but they've done a really good job at giving us just enough to
Yeah.
make you fear losing it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? To give you this illusion that you got something to lose, but we ain't got nothing to lose, really, at the end of the day. We don't got shit. So, I mean, we go down there, 10,000, 15, 20,000 people go walk down there and just be like, hey, let's open up these gates. What the fuck are those? They're not going to
They're
shoot.
not gonna
No,
start
they're
shooting
not going to
Americans.
start shooting American citizens. They're not.
That would tear this whole.
It would be crazy, bro.
Oh, that's the beginning of the revolution.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit. So, I mean, that's how bad it has gotten. And I wish that we did that. I wish we could come together like that and do that in the hoods. 10,000 people just come in and just be like, police, you ain't about to be harassing these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. Like, I wish we all could do it for everything. But I'm telling you, seeing people in cages and pens like that, if you guys don't connect that with history and look at the track, look at the trajectory that we're on right now, I don't know what to tell you. Like we are there. Like this shit is, we're basically in Nazi Germany right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening
There was
right now.
actually, we've always had a disdain for immigrants. There's always been a section of the community or
Right.
section that has a disdain in America for immigrants
Yeah.
for one reason or another, because of
They get opportunities that we don't.
politicians, and it's also gaslighting.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's
for
definitely
sure. Tons of
gaslighting.
gaslighting. Yeah, for sure.
Gaslighting definitely, but post 9/11 has really been terrible as far as America and their grade on human rights has definitely
that was an inside job.
since about 2001.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To the lengths that the people will go, that the people will endorse the government going
To do what they do.
to do what they do.
Mhm.
Because the only way that Trump or the Border Patrol or ICE can do what they're doing is with the stamp of approval of the people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, people just stand idly by and not doing anything
Right.
about it. Like, and that's what I'm saying.
Exactly what you just said.
If we cannot connect ourselves to the people in the cages and be like you were saying before, like those are us. we got kids too.
That's why they
Imagine
don't want you
if
to
they
see.
took.
That's why they wouldn't let you in.
If you can't just do like, I don't need to. That's the funny thing though. I don't need to see
I
it.
just need to
All I
see
know
it.
is that they separated
people-
kids. Bro, if they took my kid,
Right.
you can't take. You can't take my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like there ain't no.
There's
thing-
no
there-
playing
like,
the
there-
game.
There's not. Like it ain't gonna happen. Like
It's
you know what I'm
almost
saying?
like we could go and free the men and women, and they take care of the rest for the kids.
Ty asked a very interesting question. He said,
Yeah.
what should be done with the children? I'm not in front of the camera, but I wish you could see the intensity in my face. Let them go home to their mom and dad.
Yeah.
Well, and
They're separate. Or lock the parents up with the kids.
First of all,
Like,
first of
well, let
all,
them out, obviously.
No, first of all, stop criminalizing people crossing an imaginary line that you
There you
made in
go.
the sand.
Yeah.
There
Stop
you go.
criminalizing that. That's not a crime.
Yeah.
When people are fleeing from places that they're impoverished, that's not a crime. Understand what's a place that you destabilized, by the way, U.S. government. You caused
Say it
the
again.
problem. This is nothing but a grift job. To justify the existence of ICE, to justify the existence of the Border Patrol, and to give some stripes to the base,
Mhm.
to give some stripes to a president that is on the verge of getting bounced out.
Yeah.
They create they are the major factor. They're creating the drama and then acting like they're solving the problem at the same time. Like they're it's
Smoke and
crazy.
mirrors, baby.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors, baby.
Give these people asylum hearings. Give the children, give them lawyers, give them social workers, give them due process. You don't understand what I'm saying?
Give them everything that they were promised through the whole process of amnesty.
Give them asylum hearings, and while they are awaiting asylum hearings,
Mhm.
let them go with family members that are there.
Yeah.
There are family members that can come pick these kids up, and they say, well, if you bring a family member comes and gets them, they can come pick these kids up. But if you're not a documented person,
Mhm.
you're afraid to come within 100 miles of those places to go get those kids because you're afraid you'll end up in a camp.
Well, they already are like talking about riots going on in there and stuff in the camp. That's strong stuff. I mean, that's scary.
It's hard to stomach.
They don't want that.
If you can't I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and it was really sad because it was a Hispanic person, and they were telling me, well, if these people really wanted to do it, they do it like my family did and do it legitimately.
That's funny. I see that a lot. The same thing I see with Black people when we get a little something. You know what I'm saying? Whenever Black people get a little something, and then you talk to a person, whenever you end up being one of the halves, and then you start talking to the have-nots, and it's like, well, why can't you make it? I did.
Pull yourself up.
Pull yourself by your bootstrap.
You start sounding just like the white
Yeah,
people that didn't want you to have.
Yeah, you say you sound just like the oppressor. Like, I don't understand that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like I don't know, man. I'm not rich, so I don't know. I don't want to judge the rich people. Maybe if I get rich, I don't know if that'll happen to me too. I doubt it'll happen, but I'm just saying, like, if it did, you know what I'm saying? Like, if that, but that shit amazes me. I don't understand that. I don't understand when Hispanic people say that about other Hispanic people, Latinos, whatever, when they say that shit about each other, because I've seen that too. I've heard the same thing you heard from Mexican people, from Latino people, and they'll be like, I don't like immigration is, I don't feel like they should be able to come over here. And I'm like, but your granny came over. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine if we adopted these rules 40, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years, you know what I'm saying? Like, where would you be? I don't get that, but it comes down to, like I said earlier, the people want to protect their best interest.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? They now have an advantage, they feel like. They don't want to lose that. They feel like they have a little something. They're like, I don't want another Mexican person here to take my job. I don't want another They start feeling the same way poor white people in freaking West Virginia start feeling. They start feeling the same way people in the Rust Belt start feeling about immigrants. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's a class thing. Now it's a socioeconomic thing. It ain't a race thing. It ain't a ethnicity. It has nothing to do with that. Now it's just like, well, damn, I got a little bit and I don't want to lose it. And that's where the fear comes in. They prey on the fear. But there's more than enough here for everybody. That's the thing. Like, it's the land of milk and honey, as they say, right? It's the wealthiest country in the world ever in the history of the world. There's tons of money here. There should be. Like, that's the funniest thing, too, when you talk to right-wingers. They'll tell you, like, or anybody for that matter, for the most part. They'll tell us, yeah, there's so much opportunity in America. Okay, then why are you afraid of some immigrants coming in if there's so much fucking opportunity?
This is the land of opportunity.
There's so much opportunity. Like, why are you so afraid of them coming? Like, let them come, man. Let them come. Like, stop denying them.
Have you ever just I don't know? You guys help me out at home if you guys know about it. Have you guys ever heard of a factory that shut down and fired all the white people and then popped up back open with all immigrant workers?
No. not. Hold on. Time out. Not in America.
Oh no.
I've heard of them firing all the white people and then moving the factory to Mexico.
Yeah. Ford did
I've
that.
seen that before.
Right.
They all do that. Yeah.
So that's not the immigrants taking your job.
Yeah.
No.
But
That's those
what happens.
corporations.
That's what happens when you build your town around a capitalist, and that capitalist decides that it's not advantageous to him anymore to be in your town, leaves your town high and dry, and destroys everyone's lives.
And that happens because of bad trade deals like NAFTA. So, like that wouldn't be able to happen without a NAFTA. You see what I'm saying? Like even if you build your town around a capitalist without NAFTA, without a bad trade deal like that, it never would have happened. They would have to keep it there, or they would have just moved it somewhere else in America, right? At least it would have been in America.
Where is Trump getting tough? Where is Trump getting with his toughness and talking shit to those guys that leave the country with their business?
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's helping them go.
He's that guy.
Right.
He's helping them.
His
He's
sister made
suggesting
China.
that they go.
Yeah.
I remember
You
might remember this when I debated Anthony Rivers on democratic socialism and the merits of democratic socialism. And he talked about taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And he, first of all, of course, he misconstrued the entire tax policy because it's not based, his ideals are not based on any kind of scholarship whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, he said that if we close tax loopholes and we began to tax the rich at on their fair share, that they would leave the country.
But they already do that.
Right. And not only that though, if you think about where can they go where they're going to get the same sweet deal? If you're looking for the super sweet deal and being where your customers are, where the people with the money are, where are you going to go to get that same sweet deal?
No.
You ain't going to go to Europe because they're going to tax the shit out of you in Europe.
They won't let you in.
They won't because they love their middle class, mom and pops.
Some of
them. Oh, when I'm talking about the UK.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
Greece.
We were comparing it to democratic socialism.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about, the Scandinavian countries, Germany, people that they take care of working class people, places that take care of working class people.
Italy.
Right. So where the hell did you expect these people to go? Where do you expect Amazon to go if they can't do business in America? To get the same deal. They can go to China, but don't work. Oh, and the thing about China is this. Yeah, they can make a lot of money because they make up the money in other ways. On the tax end of it, though, they pay plenty of taxes.
Yeah.
They don't get super tax.
Only in America do we not tax hard.
You think America is going socialist?
Yeah.
Go to China. Go to China and you'll see what socialism is all about.
Yeah. Definitely more so. I mean, like we were saying earlier, though, like the stuff that is on the table right now, it's not even socialism.
Right.
Like it's just normal. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like to put like Tyrone knows, and anybody that knows, I'm a real life socialist. Like I don't like capitalism. I think it's terrible. I don't think there's any good merits to the system. It's failed time and time again. It's failing again right now. So on and so on. Like I don't like it at all, right? But I don't even like bringing it up because we're so not even there as a country to even talk about that shit that I don't even like bringing it up. But the policies that are being pushed right now by AOC, by Bernie, by the progressive wing in the Democratic Party, they're not social. It's not real socialism. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not trying to. They just want you to have your basic needs met.
And they're also providing a way out as this capitalism begins to degrade. Mm-hmm. It's socialism by choice.
Yes.
It's this system is breaking down. So let's install something that's going to
Take its place.
that's going to take its
better.
place.
Yeah.
That's not going to lead to destruction of society as we know it. See the difference between a social democracy and socialism. There's a spectrum.
Yes.
If you've got socialism on the far left, okay, a lot of times, as a matter of fact, the reason that people have a bad stigmatization of socialism is because it has been incorporated with authoritarianism, and they almost like they saw capitalism crumbling, and then they militarily mobilized and tried to force an end to the capitalism.
Well, that's not even that's communism usually. Usually when it gets violent, it's communism.
Right.
So if you look
or the repeal of communism, if you look at Russia.
Is that communism, like USSR, they love the term socialism because it kind of, for the benefits of socialism as a society, as an economic system, to kind of to give a marketing value to the people, right? So they would call it socialism or communism in Russia. In the United States, they love capitalism and hate socialism so much that they were glad that the Russians were calling themselves socialists so they could demonize it.
Yep.
Whoa, you hate Russia? We all hate Russia, right? They're socialists.
Yep.
They can make socialism bad.
Yeah.
That's where we get that from. It comes along with the red baiting, and it comes along with the fact that socialism was misrepresented in the USSR, and it was paired with authoritarianism. Yeah. It's not the economic
the system works fine,
right? It's the authoritarian administration. It's almost like it's almost like if you had to take medicine, right? And some medicines are nasty as fuck, but they help you. But then your doctor might put for the kids some bubblegum flavor or whatever to take the medicine. It was basically like that.
They try to force with communism, like I've said this before, but just for those people that don't know, communism is basically for communism to exist, everybody needs to practice communism, not just America, not just Russia, not just the whole world needs to be communist. That's when the authoritarianism comes in. And the problem also is they try to force this shit down people's throat. That's the problem. Don't force it. Like we're in a capitalist society right now. I mean, mostly capitalist society right now because there is no true any system. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no 100% capitalist. There's no 100% socialist. There's nothing is 100%. It's all a mixture right now, right? Okay, so we can see, like you were saying, we see the holes in capitalism. We can fill them with socialism. And as the shit crumbles, we could just fill more and more with socialism, with democratic socialism, whatever you want to fucking call it. We can fill it with these programs and with these policies more and more as time goes on, right? That's the way to do it, right? We do need radical sweeping change. I'm not saying we need to do it literally like one by one. We need to start off with like 15 programs, right? But then as it goes on, like once we get that secure, once we fix the foundation, then we can start working on the windows and the doors and painting the house and doing all that shit, right? We can do that in this country. We don't need to do a complete 180 per se, right? Like we don't right away. We don't need to do a total about face, and we don't need to force feed anybody anything because we as the people, we see the system is fucked up. Yeah. We see the inherent corruption in it right now. The vast majority of people do. I think like the approval rating of the Congress is like 30%. Like nobody likes politicians. Like, you know what I'm saying? We see that it's not working for us.
Right.
So if we come together and go, okay, cool, this is what we need. Let's push forward. Let's get these things implemented. Then let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to sneakily be a communist or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe in that stuff, but for the time being, I'm like, hey, let's just do this.
And
put some training wheels on it, right?
Yeah.
These socialist programs are either going to be in the confines of our democracy where they're actually implemented and demanded by the people, or they're going to end up being socialism by proxy, as we saw in 2009, where the government was forced to go into a socialist program and bail out the banks.
Yes, they weren't forced. They could have not did it.
They could have not did it.
They should have not done it.
And things would have been bad for a little bit. But there were but if capitalism is correct in their theory,
Yeah.
then other banks would have rose up to
From
take
the
their
ash.
place.
It would
I
have
would've
been
been-
a Phoenix effect.
The
Somebody would have burned.
FDIC would have been able to give everybody their money back,
Yeah.
and everybody would took that money and put them in different banks that didn't fail, that weren't investing.
Or you could have gave the money to the people.
Right, or you could have bailed people out.
Fuck the
and-
banks, bail the people out, let the
Right,
banks
let the
fall.
banks fall, and we still would probably, and to in the world economy the way it is, we still need the bank.
No, you
But-
just banks.
You just break up the
But-
size of these banks, because some of these
Yeah.
banks are huge,
But
man.
The banks are bigger now.
And now where are we?
The banks are bigger now.
And they're bigger. They're more. They're harder to bring down. And now we're at a point where we're looking for politicians to stand up to the banking industry now.
Yes. Now.
When we have the opportunity to stand up, it's like it's better. Like it's almost like it's easier to kill a giant when it's on his back than when he's
Standing on his
Yeah.
feet.
And
Absolutely.
we had an opportunity to actually kill the same banks that enforce the red line that you guys talk about,
Yep.
and the same banks that wouldn't loan money to black people, the same banks, but when they started to bail them out, we took it. We took it because at the same time as we bailing out the banks, they was talking about stimulus checks.
Absolutely.
Bailed out the auto industry the same way.
You're just like any of you guys. You're just like the little boy that's on Wine and Witch in the Wardrobe that sold out his people for the
For some Turkish delights.
Yeah, like Peter, like
Oh,
the little
yeah.
boy that sold out his people for the Turkish delight because you weren't calling for these to let these big banks to fail. You bought the hook, line, and sinker that they're too big.
They're too big to fail.
And then when Obama came in, he basically he got down with the
He
program.
was the prettiest face.
Matter of fact,
bought into.
Citibank picked his tab.
Mm, you can say that again. $789 billion goes a long way.
Yeah, Citibank picked his cabinet because they knew they were getting bailed out, and this is what the reality was. He wanted no one around that was going to stand up and say, "Hey,
No.
it might not be a good idea
Yeah,
in a
let
backroom
me-
meeting
let
or
me-
a little staff meeting, like it might not be a good idea to bail these guys out."
Yeah.
They
They were
didn't want
terrible
nobody
before,
there.
yeah.
So he said, "Wait, this is your cabinet.
Yeah.
These are the guys we've already handpicked and talked to, and they understand that this bailout needs to happen."
Yep.
They even forced some banks that weren't in trouble to take bailout money.
It's like when you seen the movies like with the cops are on the tape. And
Yeah.
they trying to get like in Training Day, they were trying to get Ethan Hawke. He
Right.
was like, I don't want the
Or
money.
like,
He was like, it would behoove you.
what was the guy from it was Frank Lucas story, American Gangster.
American Gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the stigma behind him?
He was a
He
pariah.
found $1 million.
He didn't take
his
it.
He
money.
didn't take the
He
money.
busted
What
$1
kind of-
million bus. He didn't take any of
What the fuck kind of guy is this over
Yeah.
here? You don't fucking take the money?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta take the money, man. You gotta take the money. That's what they trying to have you believe, I should say.
But it's business as usual. You can't be the honest fucking engine in the room, the motherfucking dirty ass crooked cowboys, because they're gonna fuck you up for that.
Absolutely.
How do you stay faithful in a room full of hoes?
There you go.
Kanye asked.
That's what it is. So do you have anything you wanna like finish with? Like
Yeah.
what's your
Well, first of all, I just want to say, shout out to you guys, Tyrone, Soapbox Heroes. You guys are dope. We love you. Click the like, subscribe, hit the notification button, get everything that we're coming out with. We're gonna be chopping these into tidbits, something you can share with your friends. You know what I mean? Talk about this. Get some other people come in, share their opinions. I know you guys all have that person that likes to talk shit, that likes to talk politics, and has his opinion. And maybe you be like, this guy would own these guys.
Mhm,
We want to talk to that guy. We want to talk to the guy that you think will own us
mhm,
for sure. Because I want to grow,
mhm.
or I don't mind.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody who's like, I know that they can explain that. You agree what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Somebody else that thinks a different way, he might own you, but you think we might own them. Whatever
Whatever it
the
is,
reason is,
bring them to the
bring them
table.
to it.
And we're gonna start doing phone calls soon too. We're gonna start
Definitely.
taking phone calls. That's the next step. But
Overall, I just want people to know that we're going to talk. We're going to make sure that we talk deeper. We're always going to be as honest and as thorough as we can in talking about these subjects, especially on how they're viewed through the different ideological lenses that dominate the political landscape at this point in time. in hopes that you hone your own views. That you start the conversation in your living rooms, you start the conversation around the water cooler, that you get these, you know what I mean, that you cut your teeth on these ideas and begin to be engaged in what's going on in terms of the allocation of power in America and around the world. Also, I know we've been doing, look out for, the debates coming up. We're going to be talking about those next week. I want to do a little bit more also on this show of foreign policy and bringing to light how America influences the world landscape as well. I know we've been talking a lot about domestic policy, and that's normally what you get in election years or around elections, because that's some of the most polarizing and important subjects that are coming up. But I don't want to leave out the fact that we are just a part of an entire globe.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to talk a little bit more about foreign policy in the future. So stay tuned. The best is yet to come.
Absolutely. So yeah, man. I feel like we definitely we touched on everything we need to touch on. I think next week when we break down the pre-debate stuff, what I want people to look out for this time, the pool's gonna be smaller. People already dropped out.
Well, it's still gonna be 20.
It's still gonna be 20 because somebody else stepped in.
Yeah, Steyer jumped in.
But I don't think Steyer's gonna qualify.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't think everybody's going to qualify for the debate. That's what I'm saying. Too,
I think they still have 20 slots
as of right now. But yeah, but I'm saying I don't think they're all going to qualify for the debate. So I hope that the pool gets smaller. That would be great.
I hope that Hickenlooper gets the hint.
Yeah, I think I don't think he'll make it to the dice.
He's still in.
No, he's still in. Really? Yeah. You got the poll. I think you got the poll around 3% now. Though. It's not 1% anymore. You got to poll 3%, one of the three major polls, or you have to get the 100.
Well, then that would be goodbye to Tulsi, right?
No, because she can get the money.
Oh,
yeah.
She's raising. So it's either or. That's what I'm saying. Like Andrew Yang will get the money. I think Tulsi will get the money, and a few other people
qualified.
Yeah, but like I don't think Gillibrand is going to qualify. I don't think that's what I'm saying. Like right now, we'll see. Hopefully, who gets smaller.
They announced that
next week. Yeah. So that's something we got to look for. But what I want you guys to do, everybody that watch this and watch the Soapbox Heroes, I want you guys to give us as much content as you can. Like I love, like we share stuff all the time with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like we read stuff, we watch stuff constantly. But I feel like a lot of like I share something with Tyrone today. I'm sorry, I share something with both you guys today, but I shared something with Robert today. He was like, "Oh yeah, I just watched that 10 minutes ago." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it should, like, I want stuff that I wouldn't see. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I really want that. Like, I like looking at different points of view. You know what I mean? Like, it helps sharpen my point of view. So I'm not afraid that I don't live in some bubble. I'm not afraid of new ideas or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you will find that refreshing about us is that we always want more information. So please give us as much stuff that you can find, whatever you think is interesting. You can find me. Prince Hayes, PRINT. Oh, I'm sorry. My handle on Twitter is Prince PRINTS. I'm sorry. Once again, it's the public offender on Twitter, and that would be good. Or you could go to Meme Knowledge on Twitter. We have a Twitter page set up, or you can find Meme Knowledge on Facebook as well. We have a fan page like that, and send us as much stuff as you possibly can. I want it. I want to read it. I want to watch it. I want to listen. Whatever the case may be. We'll go through it and we'll bring it up on the show. We'll address it on the show, okay?
Also, yeah, just look for a sharper show from us too. We're going to continue to, we got the best yet to come still, and we're working on production, and I think we're getting better every week. That's personal. If you don't think so, just tell me. If you think something we need to work on, let me know. I love criticism, or if something you want to see on the show, more of.
Yeah.
Let us know. You want to see something more. You want to see D sometimes. You want to see D stick his face in the camera sometimes, or do a headstand or something. He's for sale. We got
We're gonna get the cameras too.
You want to do the ALS challenge or something? We can do that.
Yeah, never mind. No, I just thought about something. I thought about something funny. Okay, so great show. I appreciate everybody participating. I think it was great. We did a great job. So we want to thank him as usual, and thank everybody that participated. And we're gonna see you guys next week. Wednesday.
Sounds like a plan. And I know that somebody popped in. Yes, it is meme knowledge. We will have memes for you. They are coming.
Yeah, we gotta put up. We will post when we. You'll see.
You'll see.
We
That's
got
like I
it
told
going,
you.
but right now we're just kind of working out the kinks. So stick with us and keep participating in the best is yet to come, like Tyrone said. All right. So I keep saying Tyrone Robert. I talked to you time. I talked to Tyrone so much that and Robert at the same time, and it's crazy. We're like connected at the hip right now. So yeah. But thanks everybody for participating, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.